welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry. Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 171. As always, you can give this podcast a listen on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts at. We should be there. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Instagram page, as well as the Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch, and also Instagram. I actually now have a personal Instagram. You can follow me on all three of those at Serial Sensei, and you can follow my co-host on Twitter at GC Zeus. And speaking of my co-hosts, back for our second quarantine episode. We're doing it again. Here with my co-host Theanticool. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just sitting back, chilling. Not drinking bleach.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea. No bleach. No inhaling of the Clorox. No resurgence of the Tide Pods.
I am injecting Lysol directly into my veins, though. Just like the doctor ordered.
Yeah. They put it on that little paper. You gotta do it. they put that on a little checkout slip when you leave. Oh man, yeah. So you guys, we're back for another episode. These episodes are just kind of coming by the wind. We're kind of shooting off the hip. Didn't really plan on doing these, but just sometimes life just happens. Weird things happen, especially in the world of MMA.
Life doesn't happen.
Sometimes it does.
You know?
But
yeah. Life still at home.
Life wasn't happening, and the UFC forced life to happen, or it's trying to force life to happen. So yeah, that is why we are here. But real quick, before I forget, as always, shout outs to the listeners. Appreciate you guys. And also be sure, if you have not already, like I said, we aren't recording episodes on the weekly anymore, but on weeks that we don't record episodes, I try to every Saturday do a fight night stream on my Twitch, so you can hit me up on Twitch TV at Serial Sensei. Follow me on there. We've been doing fight nights for the last couple of weeks. It's been dope. Good turnouts every time. We have a nice fun time watching the best and worst of MMA, kickboxing, boxing, soon to be slapping. I don't know what that's called, but it's probably the official name. But we'll get to that too. But nah, it's a good time, man. So if you're free on Saturday evenings, you want to fix for a fight, we do it on my Twitch channel at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Normally on Saturdays. If you follow me on social media, I always post before we go live, and you can come hang with us, man. Come watch some fights with us. But like I said, shout outs to the listeners. I'm gonna still shout out the top cities, even though there's still a few people out there listening. Ain't a whole lot, but I'll acknowledge those who have been. Number 1 city, Clifton, New Jersey. Number 2, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Number 3, Chicago, Illinois. Number 4, Pretoria, South Africa. And number 5, Redwood City, California. So shout outs to you guys, man. All the listeners. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying clean, not inhaling bleach or any of those cleaning substances. We'll try to keep some content going, help people get through this, get through these crazy times with it, man. Try to give you some content to kind of help your time pass by, man. We all could go for a little bit of distractions right now. So I guess with that being said, I know what, I'll save it until before we start. Actually, no. I'll do it now. Don't like starting off episodes off on a sad note, but I got to do unfortunately, some rest in peace acknowledgments before we get started. I want to do them now before I end up forgetting. Rest in peace to, I think he was from Brooklyn. I know he was from New York. Rapper Fred the Godson. He passed away at 35 from COVID-related, his
He's
battle
from the
that he had
Bronx.
from the Bronx. Okay. It was one of those.
Yeah.
But
Right.
he passed away. I think he had been dealing with Corona for a while actually. But unfortunately he lost his battle, and I think he had a wife, had kids, 2 kids I want to say. Really, really messed up, man. Really, really messed up. I didn't listen to a ton of his music, but I actually do have one of his songs on my playlist. I like that Nokia song with him and Benny the Butcher and 38 Special. I like that song. But he was a really talented rapper, man. Rest in peace to Fred the Godson. Rest in peace. I don't know if I'm butchering this name. I don't know if it's JC or just Jace Prescott. He was the brother of Dak Prescott for the Cowboys. I don't know what he passed of. He literally, as of this recording, I want to say passed like yesterday. And not a lot of information has been really put out about how he passed. But I think he was Dak's older brother. Rest in peace to Mr. Jace Prescott. Rest in peace to Skylar Herbert, who I want to say is the youngest person to pass from COVID. She was 5. She was from Detroit. And when I saw it, I was like, man, just that's rough, man. That is. Just stories like that, and I'm like, I don't understand how people aren't taking this seriously when a 5-year-old is, she's gone because of COVID.
Because they'll say it's just one 5-year-old, mine will do fine or something stupid like that.
Yeah, but just wanted to acknowledge those 3 and anyone else. It's crazy times we live in. Please protect yourself. Stay clean. Stay sanitized. Don't go out if you don't need to. The usual. That being said, rundown of the show. Today, there will allegedly be a UFC card that will be taking place on May the 9th. And normally, I wouldn't care. I've been really detached from sport news as of late because I don't consider any of this to be real. But the only reason we are recording this podcast is because this is taking place in the great state of Florida, where even with the Rona, anything is possible. They have shown
the
they don't care.
WWE is recording right now.
Yeah. If this card wasn't taking place in Florida, I would have completely ignored it. But the fact that they said this is happening in Florida, I said, well, I guess that means this card is actually going to happen. Because as we've seen, Florida does not care. They don't care about the Rona. They don't care about none of that.
Yeah, the governor of Florida is a fucking idiot.
He said sports are essential.
Well, we won't get into why he says sports are essential, but he's also the dude I believe he was the dude who said that he didn't know that you could be a holder of the Rona and not show symptoms. So yeah, he's not the brightest bulb in the box.
Yeah, these are the people that run our country that we're supposed to look to for leadership in a time of crisis.
Yeah, he opened up a few of the beaches down there. I know they opened up the one in Jacksonville, but this is all based. So we're recording this, not to date us, but we're recording this on April 25th.
Yep.
So that would give us a solid 2 weeks before the UFC runs their show. That's plenty of time for shit to just go bad.
It is
a lot of time. Especially if Florida's going to keep waxing their rules.
Well, I don't know. We'll get into it when we get to the card, but this allegedly won't be the last event. Florida plans on being pretty busy in May with the UFC. I don't know how this is all going to work. Who knows if any of this will actually happen. unfortunately, I just believe Florida is dumb enough / crazy enough to pull it off. And I don't mean that in a good way. These shouldn't be happening. But if they're going to happen, I guess I'm just going to talk about them. Because what can I do? What can I do? But before we get into that, I guess real quick, I don't know, try to bring some lightheartedness. Just a general question. What have you been doing, sir, to what's the word? What have you been doing during this quarantine to, keep your days going, help time pass by? Have you watched anything new, picked up any new hobbies? What's been keeping you afloat?
I've been running. I have like stuff to work on from home, so I've been like, I do programming at the library I work at, so I've been filming like activities and stuff for people to be doing at home with their families. Um, I've been watching a lot of DuckTales, you know, um, exercising, uh, walking to the store. Yeah, that's the highlight of my day right there. They go get me like a bottle of Sprite or some sweet tarts. That's the height of my day. Like, I knit. I've been playing video games.
Hey,
I beat Breath of the Wild. I beat Breath of
wow.
the Wild.
You know what's
I
sad
beat.
about that? I've owned that game for like 6 years. and you beat it before I did.
I mean, it was the only game I had at the time, so it wasn't, hard. But like, I got 100 something hours in that game.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I beat the shit out of it. Like, I did everything. What you call it? I also beat Undertale,
I know the name. I
which
just
is
I can't place a face to the game.
um. Other than that, not much. Like, it's just you sleepwalk through the day a lot. How about you, Sensei? What you been up to? How
Um,
you staying ahead of existential dread?
well, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. This quarantine hasn't really changed much of my daily operations as somebody who doesn't go out that often. Though I will say, um, even as an introvert, I'm really, really, really missing going on food adventures. Um, I might have mentioned this last time on the podcast, but this whole like COVID thing happened at the worst time for me. Like I was just making a concerted effort this year. I told my therapist this year I'm gonna make a concerted effort to start going out more, and I finally did. Like I went to Comic-Con this year. I went to a car show. I was going on food adventures. I felt like I was really making progress, and then this happened, and then I was like, all right, I gotta go back in the house now. I guess I've had my fun, but no, I've been okay, man. I've been good. Like you, working out, exercise has been a really big thing. I've actually ramped up my exercises. I've just been finding a lot of videos on YouTube, just trying different little programs here and there. I've increased the frequency in which I work out. There are a couple of days this month I've woken up at like 5 in the morning to work out, and I've never done that before. So this quarantine might have turned me into crazy man, but workouts have been helping. I feel a little lighter. I can see the love handles in my stomach. They going down a little bit. I'm like, all right, I'm doing something, making progress. So exercise has been a big thing. Also, like you, video gaming has been a big thing. Follow me on Twitch, people. I've been pretty active on there. Well, I haven't played much this week, but I've been streaming a lot. I've been clearing out my backlog of all the games that I haven't beaten from way back when. So that's been fun. Been playing a lot of video games. Been watching some anime. I watched The Promised Neverland, which is an amazing show, man. That show is so good. Only 12 episodes. But my God, it's like the most stressful 12 episodes ever. But it's such a good show. So if you've never watched The Promised Neverland, give that a look. if you're into anime. Been on my Netflix a little bit. We spoke before the recording. I've been watching a couple movies. Finally getting back into that because I'm not somebody who really watches the movies at home a lot because my attention span is hard for me to watch movies at home. But been watching a few movies and writing. Always writing. Books don't write themselves. So been working on that. So I have more than enough to keep me busy. I peek at the news every now and again to make sure the world hasn't completely collapsed. And since it hasn't completely elapsed, I take my peek and then I go back and go back to my little turtle shell or work on whatever I'm working on. But yeah, no, I've been keeping it slow and steady, man. Taking life one day at a time. I'm working from home now, so that also still keeps me busy. So I work. My schedule changed a little bit, but fortunate to still be able to work, still have some income coming in. So I've been managing.
Yeah. I forgot my other new hobby. I take old family photos, and I just Photoshop them on my phone to make them look weird.
So like
I made one of my, but I made one of my brother and my sister dunking on Yao Ming and Shaq yesterday.
I was gonna say, like, have you put your family on Mount Rushmore yet? You decide which ones actually make it.
See, that's a good idea. I haven't thought of that.
There you go.
See, they started off weird, and then they just started off like weird, like haha, that's funny, and then they just got creepier and creepier. Like that one of them dunking on Shaq and Yao Ming was first. The next one was I put Bigfoot in the picture of like my family. He's like in the background. Then the next one's like my sister is like a baby with my grandmother, like trying to teach her how to ride a scooter in the grass, and my great grandmother in the window. And then there's like a Jason mask. This is like right there.
Oh,
one of my coworkers I have a photo on my phone of one of my coworkers wearing like a bunny suit. So I like graded out, made it really small, and put it in the background of this photo of this girl taking a picture in the forest. So it's just her peering at this girl from behind the tree.
Hey, so look at it, just look at it as you're sharpening your tools, man. So when this is all when life gets back to normal, you can have a
It's like a little shitty app that digitizes everything. So I'm gonna get me like not real Photoshop because that costs money. I'm gonna get me one of these alternative ones that is like free.
I'm about to say it might be cheap now though. Like a lot of these, and I would encourage people listening. A lot of these there are a lot of like softwares and programs that would normally be really expensive that during this quarantine like are on like major discounts. Like I've seen like language software that was originally like hundreds of dollars, now it's like $34. And like a lot of places are offering like online classes for photography, all kinds of stuff. So I would tell you guys, man, keep your eye out, man. There are a lot of not to overwork yourself during the quarantine, because you got to keep your mental health in check. You don't want to do too much. But like if you're looking to pick up a new hobby or just something to pass the time, there are definitely some opportunities out there. There's some stuff out there. A lot of stuff going on discount right now.
One of my friends told me about this. I'm not sure how true it is, but she works in the hospital, so I'm going to believe her. I think she said she bought something from them. But North Face, if you're a medical worker and you have some way of proving that, apparently they're doing this thing where they'll give you like 50% off of items, like in their store, like new ones and everything. So like, if you're working somewhere cold or you just want a North Face, maybe look into that. But it's for medical workers.
Oh,
I was
gonna say, and yeah, I forgot. Shout outs to everybody on the front lines, man. Medical workers, all the cashiers, all of like the local your local food spots that might hopefully are still open. Still trying to get business. Everybody everybody out there who's still trying to stay afloat. Because I think probably one of the saddest parts, and we can get off this after this, it's getting morbid, but I think one of the saddest parts kind of about this whole situation is a lot of, I don't think it's really hit me, and it probably won't hit me really until like life somewhat returns back to normal, whatever normal becomes. But like a lot of these small business places that I go to might not be around anymore. Like after this is over. And that's really, really, really gonna suck. Like that's really, really gonna suck. A lot of them unfortunately are not gonna make it. But you know, so if you can support your local business during this time, I would urge you to do so because they definitely need it the most. Definitely need it the most. But moving on. Oh, also real quick, I forgot. Last thing I've been doing during this quarantine, I've listened to a lot of music. I'm currently keeping a Twitter thread on my Twitter of all of the albums that I've listened to during this lockdown. And to be honest, this list isn't accurate because I didn't start counting until like after the first week. But I'm currently at 72 albums. I normally do like 4 a day on the days that I work. So that's also been a thing I've been doing. But moving on. MMA, COVID, somehow this is all related. COVID has affected everything. Sports isn't the same. We just had the NFL draft, and they had to do that like a virtual draft, which is crazy. I didn't really watch it, but I saw little clips here and there.
Yep, WNBA draft a week and a week and a half ago. They did the same thing.
Yep.
Everybody was home. Granted, they didn't have to deal with everybody on Twitter being fucking insane. So a whole lot of like girlfriend shaming on Twitter from the draft, which I was not expecting, but I guess I wasn't sure what to expect with them being home. So
I don't know. I haven't watched any clips, but I don't know. I can't really speak on it because, like I said, I didn't. A lot of this sports stuff, I've just during this whole thing, I have been so detached. Like,
I did see one thing. I don't know anybody's name from the draft, but I did see one thing that I thought you'd appreciate. It was the dude from the Atlanta Falcons, I think, who got drafted. He was like, I love football because I'm allowed to hurt people and the police won't show up.
oh yeah, no, yeah, yeah, I saw that.
I was like, damn, dude, why don't you just put on some fucking boxing gloves?
And he was dead serious.
Yeah, no, there was
Like,
no levity in his voice. He was like, no, I just like hurting people.
Like, I get to legally punish a man, and nobody can do anything to me. Like, I can just go on about my day. And
That's the mentality about football I don't like. Not so much that they can hurt people, but it's just like, oh, you can hurt people, you can punish them, and like they can't punish you back because that's not the rules. It's like, dude, if you want to hurt somebody who's going to be able to hurt you back.
We'll see. I didn't see that guy's name.
He's too big for super heavyweight, so
I gotta catch his name, see what team he plays for. Might keep an eye on him. might have to keep an eye on him.
like 4 years now it comes out he's like a serial killer.
Yeah. But like I said, man, COVID just put the clamps on the sports world. So before we get to this card,
thank God we're not talking about the sports world, right?
God.
We're talking about the circus world.
Yeah, this is like the You ever watch like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies? How they always like kept Leatherface in the basement, like he stays in that other room.
Yeah.
Like, this is what MMA is, that other room. Like MMA, like when you go over to your friend's house, and you know that he has 3 brothers, but you only ever see 2 of them, and the other one just he isn't really like allowed out in public. Yeah, that's what MMA is. He's that other brother in that basement. But COVID has affected the MMA world. Different promotions are dealing with this in various ways. to say the least. So before we get to this card that we will talk about, just wanted to give some updates on how the MMA world is handling coronavirus. We acknowledged Bellator last time, and I'll give them a brief little shout out. Leslie Smith had tweeted out, and this was this was in a response to a UFC article, which I will get to in a second. But her tweet said, "I got more than double $20,000 from Bellator, and Bellator has a life insurance policy." Which, side note, I don't think either of us knew, but shout out to Bellator for life insurance. Said she's feeling good about her career choices right now. And if you don't know what she's referencing, I forgot what Bellator card was upcoming, but whatever card they had that was upcoming, like before this all went down, they canceled the card and they paid everybody that was set to be on the card, which great move from Scott Coker and company. One of the only promotions that that handled this the right way. And then the other cards that Bellator has upcoming, I can't remember what dates they are, but I think they're upcoming in May. I think most of them have been postponed. UFC, on the other hand, they did something for that UFC London card that we would have gotten. And this is what Leslie Smith's tweet was in response to, and why she mentioned that she got double. That is because the UFC London fighters, in this article I'm reading from Bloody Elbow, written by Shaquille Majuri, I'm saying that right. UFC London fighters paid $20,000 max for canceled card. That's right, 20 G's. That's it. So
imagine what the people down the card got.
Right. Imagine the people who weren't in the main event or the co-main, because it says 20K was the top. That was the first line of the article says each fighter on the UFC London card was reportedly paid no more than $20,000, according to ESPN's Ariel Helwani. This conflicts with a previous report that fighters would receive their base pay. That payout allegedly had the fighters divided. And then it goes on. Helwani goes on to say, "I'm told the fighters who were slated to compete on the ill-fated London card on March 21st received no more than $20,000. As you can imagine, some of the higher earners aren't too pleased with that amount, while others were happy to get something for nothing." Sad part about that, which I'm pretty sure we all know, it's not like the UFC couldn't afford to pay these people their money. Like,
yeah,
it's not. I'm trying not to turn this podcast into like a whole political statement, because I feel like this is like a microcosm of.
I mean, everything's a microcosm of how the world works.
Yeah, because it's not just the UFC that's doing this. It's not just the UFC, but for the sake of this podcast and the sake of my stress levels and all that, we're gonna keep it just to the UFC. But I can't imagine I'm the headline of the UFC London card. Or I would have been the headliner, and you're giving me 20 G's when I would probably normally take home upwards from 70 to 6 figures, possibly, depending on.
I think I said the last time we recorded, like, Dana White has absolutely spent more money at the Palms in like a weekend than it would have cost to pay all the fighters their salary for their purse, not even like their win bonus, just like their base purse,
right,
for the month of April and May. Like,
and then also you got to think, for those 20 G's, you still got to split that between paying your trainer, coach,
manager.
So that 20 G's turns to like less than 10, I would guess.
Yeah. So there was a couple of managers who came out and said, no, the UFC was really fair, X, Y, and Z, who, really catching up to UFC. But it's also worth noting that the anti-trust lawsuit against the UFC right now that's in court has been tied up for the past few months. One of the complaints brought up by the fighters was that their managers were working in in favor of the UFC. So if you hear that type of talk from any managers or agents or like what's the name, the Cowie brothers, the Malky brothers, I don't remember the names. Maybe take it with a grain of salt, because I'm sure their interests don't lie with their clients. It's a fucking gigantic
lie, man,
fucking mess.
If I'm a fighter, especially if I'm like a main card, like I'm the name on the card, and you offer me 20 G's, yeah, I'm not practicing social distancing. We gotta talk.
Dude,
there ain't gonna be no social distancing.
20,000 is what that Lester dude claimed John Jones promised to pay him to train for like Alexander Gustafsson or something. Like that's nothing when you're in the main event, and like
that is.
There's a decent chance the dude's all the way down the card got like $500.
Bro, he probably gave them like gift cards. Like they probably did. Like whoever was on like the Fight Pass prelims, he like gave you gift cards.
You didn't get gift cards. You got like coupons, 50% off your Reebok gear.
He probably gave you a Groupon code for a place that you can't even go to because it's on lockdown.
Yeah.
Like, he gave them like a Dave and Buster's like Groupon. Oh, you can take your whole family and get the unlimited games for $30. No, we can't go there. Social distancing. Yeah, good. Best of luck. Go there when they open. God. So yeah, that's a little peek in how the UFC has been handling this, but more on them. We'll get to their card a little bit later.
We're not even gonna get to the fact that like the stupid fucking the pay-per-view they tried to put on earlier this month. That was only a week ago. Holy shit, this month is, oh my god, my brain is fried. We're not even gonna get to that because they tried that up until the very last minute. Before we move off, just shouts to Jeff Sherwood, who broke the story on the UFC trying to go to Tachi Palace.
Yeah, they tried to hold a real life Mortal Kombat card.
And then the governor of California had to call the head of Disney and tell them to stop.
And then they tried to do it on like an Indian reservation so they could like sidestep
Tachi Palace.
Yeah, it's like, come on, like that is disgusting. Disgusting on a lot of levels.
We talked about why we talked about why the UFC did that last time, so I don't want to fucking talk about it again. Fucking Dever.
Just that was nasty. That was nasty on a lot of levels. But real quick, because you were paid a little more close attention to this than I did. PFL.
Okay, we're gonna start with PFL because I do want to talk about one, even though it's like only a couple thoughts.
Well, I'll let you handle both of those. So I didn't read really too much into either of these.
All right, so PFL. Earlier last week, it came out on multiple websites that PFL would be playing their fight, would cancel their 2020 season and pay their fighters their annual stipend, which, according to at least one fighter, is at least $1,000, or is about $1,000 a month. Because that was part of actually the deal with PFL when they first started. Each fighter who's on the roster gets an annual like stipend. That was something they wanted to try out. What PFL didn't say when they put out this press release is that they were cutting about a third of their roster. This only broke because I want to say it was Globo down in Brazil broke it. So yeah. And you know what? PFL is a small business. I know they got that recent cash infusion of like 25, $50 million or whatever, but the way that they make no money whatsoever on their events leads me to believe that money could literally be all gone. Plus the fact that they give out like $6 to $10 million a year off the bat to fighters who win their tournaments. So whatever. I'm going to pretend that's not a factor. I'm just going to look at the fact that they cut 1/3 of their roster. I want to know how many of the fighters who got cut were Ali Abdelaziz guys. Because if the answer is none, I feel like there should be a lawsuit somewhere in there.
It's probably gonna get nasty next year.
Here's the thing: like, if you're getting cut from the PFL because you're not an Ali guy, you're probably dirt broke. That's the rub. You know what I mean? But for those who don't know, because he's no longer the head matchmaker for World Series of Fighting, aka PFL. Ali Abdelaziz is one of the founders of PFL and was originally their head matchmaker, despite being the agent for a considerable amount of the talent on the roster, including dudes like Marlon Moraes and Justin Gaethje when they were both with WSOF. So, not only did he get to negotiate their contracts, he was also receiving a percentage of that contract. And he still manages a shit ton of fighters on the PFL roster. So I was led to believe that the president of the World Series of Fighting is like a real sports guy. He was like a Washington D.C. guy. He's been around a lot of those organizations, like the Wizards and the Mystics and the Redskins and stuff. But how much influence does Ali still have in that front office? And is it enough to keep all his fighters from getting cut? Because there's a decent chance he still gets a stipend. Like, he gets a percentage of that stipend, right? That's still potentially a thing.
Shady.
So, yeah, no, this combat sports are shit.
Yeah. And this, unfortunately, this COVID on so many levels, not even just sports, but we won't go there, but it's really amplified. Like, things that were bad that we knew were bad, it's just amplified it by like 20. Like, people that we knew were trash just gotten more trash. And organizations that we thought were trash continue to be trash.
I'll give them credit for canceling their season, I guess, but that's where the credit ends. That's like baseline.
Yeah, it's like you get like the small pat on the back for doing the right thing, just for that one thing. But it's like everything else you did. It's like
it's not even doing the right thing. It's just like not messing up.
Right. You did the bare minimum. You did the bare minimum. I don't know, man. It's a lot of those guys from that roster gonna be looking for new MMA homes, and it's rough, man. It's rough. So that's PFL. That's how they've been handling COVID, allegedly. What's one championship been up to? I haven't kept an eye on this story.
I haven't. They had to cancel their Singapore event that they had planned for, like, I want to say it was like one of these upcoming. I want to say it was last week. So I haven't heard much on the front of like actually getting back to business, which is fine. But I do want to talk about Chatri Sityodtong, who is the founder and CEO, maybe, of ONE. I think we've talked about him a little bit on the show before. He is a corporate mouthpiece for ONE, who is very image. He's an image guy. Like, he's the guy who makes sure that ONE like hires all those fake photographers at that you see at the beginning of their like when fighters are walking in and stuff. He tries to make the one look bigger than it actually is. Like the whole.
He reminds you of the honor and integrity and the grace that is one championship.
Yeah, and the fact that like after one's very first show, Shinya Aoki threw a water bottle at fucking who was it? Who was it? Was it Kawajiri at like a Ryzen event? It wasn't a Rise event. It was one of those events though. He threw a water bottle at Kawajiri on live television and faced no repercussions, but whatever. Um, the reason I bring up Chatri is he was on he caught a little bit of flack, I guess. Um, so I'm just gonna read you a little bit of what he posted to Facebook.
Oh boy.
So what do you know about the Global Citizen One World concert, Sensei?
One World concert?
Yes.
Nah, I don't.
All right, this mega concert.
They have a band?
We'll get to that. This mega concert, One World Together at Home, will feature performances by the world's biggest stars, including Lady Gaga, John Legend, Alicia Keys, Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Chris Martin, Pharrell Williams, Usher, Jennifer Lopez, LL Cool J, Elton John, Andrea Bocelli, Celine Dion, Charlie Puth, Stevie Wonder, Sam Smith, Paul McCartney, and many others.
Chatry don't know them.
No, he doesn't. So,
where did this go?
So, I skipped over the first part of that little blurb there. So, apparently, one partnered with the Global Citizenship Organization to live stream a concert that was being held by Global Citizen that's called One World Together at Home. And it went on to raise over like $100 million for COVID research and stuff like that. But the wording of Chatri's post made it sound like it was a concert being put together by one championship. And as a result, you got headlines like one championship concert raises millions for COVID relief. Posted to the philstar.com. So basically, Chatri used charity, a charity that he did not directly have influence or involvement in. One, basically, you know how they live stream things?
Yeah.
They use their like platform to live stream the concert, but they weren't the only ones who did it. It was like across like
that was the
platforms.
notification that I got.
Yes.
Because I still have their app on my phone, and I remember getting like a weird. I was like, "What are they talking about?" And I just kind of ignored it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the wording of Chatri's post made it seem like one championship was the one responsible for raising $100 million or whatever for COVID relief. But it wasn't. It just had a fortunate type. It just had the fortunate name of One World, which makes it seem like I found the post. One World. One is all capitalized. In the actual One World Together at Home title created by the Global Citizenship partner, it's not all capitalized. It's capitalized here like it is in One Championship. One Championship, One World Together at Home raised $127.9 million for COVID relief for our frontline healthcare workers around the world. Please join me in congratulating and thanking our partner, Global Citizen, the world's largest organization dedicated to ending extreme poverty. Then he goes off to list all these celebrities who performed. And then he goes on to thank all the One Championship fighters for playing their part to help fight COVID-19.
Bro, DJ been home chilling. He don't know what you're talking about. Chatry, you don't know no John Legend.
I think they had those fighters on like in between acts to like speak. You know, like it was like a New Year's show, like a Grammy Award show or something like that. You know, like John
Where,
Legend did his thing from home, and then they cut to a video of like DJ, but that was specifically on their stream. Like, if I don't know, like Vivo, for example, on YouTube had their own stream. I don't think Demetrius Johnson was talking to a bunch of like Andrea Bocelli fans. I think he was specifically talking about the one stream, but the wording of it made it sound very confusing. So I wanted to
where,
call
where,
check
where's
you
where,
on
where's my
that.
Sage Northcutt Save the World from COVID speech?
Is it your COVID is bad? COVID's
Where-
pretty bad, huh?
Oh man, I demand this footage. Where's my Sage Northcutt footage? See, they didn't get
All
the right
right,
person to do the speech. Cut the Sage.
that's all I got. That's all I got. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah,
We can get to
yeah.
what are we talking about today?
So today we're gonna break down, give some predictions on a UFC card that is supposed to happen on May 9th. And just in case you guys didn't know, I'll mention this real quick. So the UFC is planning on holding 3 cards in Florida, which I mentioned earlier. These will be going down at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida. It will be a show without an audience. So we'll be getting UFC 249 on May the 9th, and then we'll be getting allegedly 2 other events on the 13th and the 16th. Those other 2 cards, the bouts have not been announced yet. But that is allegedly supposed to be a thing. And like I mentioned earlier, the only reason I actually believe it this time is because it is in Florida. And we know in Florida, anything is possible, and I don't mean that in a good way. But, to put some context to this episode, the news of this card kind of broke randomly like the other day. It wasn't really a precursor to any of this. It was just, you were just scrolling on Twitter, and it was like, oh, UFC 249, May 9th, Florida. And they just kind of threw it out there. And then like 5 minutes later, we started getting fight announcements. And that went from 1 or 2 fight announcements to now we have a whole card. So context for this episode, the Anti-Cool has not read any of this card. So he doesn't know what's going on. I have. Not that I've really put a ton of thought into it, but I've at least had a chance to like look over the card. The Anti-Cool has no clue. Well, he probably knows the main and the co-main. But outside of that,
Another PSA for our fans or listeners or whatever fellow fans. You don't have to buy this card.
oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, no,
I
pirate the
will.
shit out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the one time I will openly state, yeah, this is getting bootleg to the umpteenth degree. It is a national crisis. I'm not loaning you $70.
Yeah, fuck them.
Sorry about that.
Take that $70, invest in like I don't know. I was gonna say stocks, but the market's shit. Invest in a nice like food processor. You know, go crazy.
Yeah, you can do a lot with $70 that doesn't involve. Why did they could have just put this whole card on ESPN?
They could have, fucking helped us
Because
all.
bro, there's nothing else going on. Like, you really want to get your product out there?
The only
Everybody's
fucking
gonna watch
sport
this.
that is
Right,
back right now is fucking
Right.
bull riding. Bull riding.
Like, bruh, y'all could have had ESPN. Y'all could have had a whole, like, 8-hour block of ESPN to yourself.
Well, guess what? If they do it on ESPN, they'll get that sweet, sweet ESPN pay-per-view revenue.
God. I can't wait to see the numbers this pay-per-view does. This does not make sense. You're trying to do a cash grab in a pandemic. You know what? Let's just get to the card because this could turn into a whole. I don't get it. I mean, I get it because they're greedy, and we all know, like, at the end of the day, pandemic, no pandemic, capitalism reigns supreme. It is what it is. But I'm just saying, no other sports to compete with. Could have had a whole you would have owned the network. You would have owned ESPN for that day. No, and everybody would have watched. People who don't even watch MMA, who have no idea who any of these fighters are, would have watched just because it was a sport. I don't know.
Pirate it.
Oh, yeah. In fact, if you need a link, just hit me up. If you need a link, hit me up. I got you, man. I got you. But, so, we're going to do some predictions. We're going to do some predictions of these matchups. We'll probably run through the whole card. Why not? All right. So, kicking off UFC 249. The main event will be an interim lightweight title fight between, well, he should still be interim champ. I don't know how this works, but interim lightweight title fight between Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. All right, Anticool, I know you haven't had time to really prep for this.
Oh, Justin Gaethje's going to knock him out in the first round. Yeah. Say goodbye to Khabib Tony.
You think?
Absolutely. Tony Ferguson is the slowest starter in the lightweight division. Minus maybe Donald Cerrone. And you're going to put him in there with the hardest hitting, fastest starting, leg kickingest fighter in the division. The only man who is pathologically more aggressive than he is. Justin Gaethje first round knockout.
Wow.
Dude, Nando Venata almost knocked out Tony Ferguson in their first round. Anthony Pettis almost knocked Tony Ferguson out in their first round. And I get that Anthony Pettis is like this really dynamic striker and everything, but like, it's not the best version of Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, not the guy who should be having you on skates.
Yeah. So,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, as much time as I've had that I could have pondered on this fight, I actually didn't put a lot of thought into this. I'm kind of split on this because I want to see Tony fight Khabib so bad. So like that part of me wants to say Tony's gonna win this. This is hard, man. I'm kind of on the spot about this card too, honestly. Like, I've read the card, but I didn't put a lot of thought into really any of these fights until now. We're just kind of going through it. This is hard. It's gonna be a wild bloodbath of a fight for however long it lasts. I want to say that just Tony's unpredictability will give him a chance, but also like Gaethje's the one guy who, while he isn't like as technically wild as Tony is, like Gaethje's not rolling for leg locks and Eminari, like he's not doing all that. But like you said, that toughness factor, just that wild man, just untamed beast factor, he's the one guy in that division who kind of matches that Tony has. But I'm gonna stand my ground, and I don't want to see Gaethje lose. But you know what, man, I gotta stick with Tony. I can't like properly rationalize this or like give you guys a technical breakdown. I will say Tony's gonna take a lot of licks. It's not gonna be pretty, but I'm gonna say Tony's, I don't know what to call it, innovativeness, if that's a thing. His innovativeness and his that gas tank that just never seems to go on E. He's gonna out crazy Gate. That sounds wild to even say. Can you out crazy Gaethje? Yeah, I'm sticking to it. I don't care. Tony Ferguson is gonna out crazy Gaethje. It's gonna be a nasty, violent, bloody affair. but I'm going to give it to Tony Ferguson. I don't know how any of them lived through this fight. I don't know how this goes all 5 rounds. This is hard. You know what? I'm going to say Tony.
I will. I'm sorry. I'll add a caveat. I have no idea how Justin Gaethje's been training, which is a thing we have to consider with all these fighters.
Yeah.
Like I know Tony for a fact has been.
I'm about to say we've seen what Tony's been doing.
Yeah, no, Tony's been out here living his best life. Training in like a 3-piece suit. Hitting suplexes on the dummy before like doing backflips and then punching the heavy bag. But like I don't know what Justin Gaethje's been up to. I don't know if he's been sparring. I don't know if he's been like wrestling. I don't know if he's had partners. I don't know. I know they called on him to replace Khabib late, but like Tony's been training nonstop. Like he made weight last Friday because he's a psychopath. But like I don't know what shape he's gonna be in, but I'm gonna stick to my pick because Gaethje seems like the type of dude who defies a stay-at-home order and goes to the gym anyway.
Yeah. This is like the one fight on this card I can't really give like a technical breakdown for. This is me just kind of. I'm just going with my heart. Like, I think my eagerness to see Tony Khabib will not allow me to imagine Tony losing until that fight happens. So I'm gonna say Tony Ferguson out crazy Justin Gaethje, and I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna say 4th round TKO. Tony Ferguson. I'm nervous about that fight now. I'm even thinking about it. Jesus Christ, that's gonna be one. That is a boy. Moving on. Co-main event. This fight is gross. This fight is nasty. This fight shouldn't be happening. But there's a part of me that is oddly intrigued, even though this fight is gross. Co-main event, bantamweight title fight. Henry Cejudo versus Dominick Cruz. So, like when I saw this, my first thought was ew. My first thought was yuck. Get this away from me. I don't want to see this. Why is Aljamain Sterling not in this fight? I don't know. I don't think Petr Yan lives in the U.S., so probably travel reasons. He probably can't make it.
Well, the planes are grounded in Russia right now.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But I'm like, come on, this should have been Aljo. Assuming that, and I don't know Aljo's situation, but if Aljo was ready to go, this should be Aljo in this fight. But since this is the matchup we got, let me do something in real time real quick. Because I feel like we go through these like Dominick Cruz is one of those guys that we just
never have spoken on the show.
Huh?
We've never spoken about him on the show.
Yeah.
He hasn't fought in the years we've been doing this podcast.
Right. like we mentioned him, but never like to cover an actual fight because he's just never around. And we just go through these long stretches where we just don't see him.
The last time he fought was about a week before we started doing this.
Bro, it was UFC 2. We've never covered a Dominick Cruz fight on this podcast.
Nope.
That is craziness.
So, he's officially been gone longer than the first time he was gone after the Demetrius Johnson fight, which was his last hell of the fight before the injury that took him away from the sport for about 3 years.
But I'll say in his defense, when he did come back, he looked great. Obviously, he lost the Garbrandt fight, but
I mean, even that fight, he won 2 rounds. I'll give him that.
Yeah, like, he bodied Mizugaki, having a split decision with, well, now we know Mr. EPO TJ Dillashaw. Nothing to be ashamed of. He basically fought a mirror match of himself and won. And then, you know, gave Uriah Faber the hands. And then, you know, like I said, lost to Cody, but still looked decent. And I think what intrigues me about this fight is, obviously my first thought was like, well, Cejudo's never really fought anybody like Cruz. And you could go to the Dillashaw fight, I guess, and you could say, you know, Dillashaw fight similar to Cruz. But I would counter that with Cruz, I'm going to say fight IQ probably higher. He's not going to do what Dillashaw did to Cejudo.
What do you mean? Cut down an extra 10 pounds?
Yeah. That try
I get knocked out almost immediately.
Right, yeah, like he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like Cruz is not going to do that. He's going to last a lot longer than Dillashaw did. So I'm like, this could, as much as I don't like this matchup because I feel like he doesn't deserve, like he's literally coming off of a loss. So it's like, this already isn't really sitting well with me, especially with a guy like Aljamain Sterling in the wing who's been really on a tear lately. They could even have given this to what's his name, and I probably would have been happy.
Corey.
Yeah, Sanhagen. They could even gave it to him, and I would have been cool. But I'm like, Cruz's footwork could be interesting against Cejudo. Cejudo's never had to really deal with this whole, because I mean, honestly, but the Dillashaw fight, Dillashaw didn't get to do any of the b-boy. None of that really happened. That didn't go down. So I'm like, this could be interesting. But every time I'm predicting fights, one of the things I take into the most consideration is how exactly are you going to win and how many different ways can you win? And for Cruz, it's only decision. He has to go fight. He's not knocking Cejudo out. We've seen the iron head that Cejudo has. Those shots he took from Marlon Moraes and still managed to live. Cruz isn't knocking him out. That's not happening. He's going to have to win a 5-round decision. Could he maybe, still 2 rounds early? Footwork might be, real on point. He's able to get in, get out, not really take a whole lot of damage. Or, maybe just land more. Could happen. Over the course of 5 rounds, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, if Cejudo can get his timing down, and just considering how fast he is, I could see this being one of those fights where Cruz is doing okay until he's not anymore. But then it's hard because outside of the Garbrandt fight, we've never really seen, Cruz doesn't really get handled like that by anybody. And that's what really makes this fight so weird when I look at Cruz's career in context. It's yeah, he's lost fights, but outside of the last fight that he had 4 years ago, whatever that was, nobody really handles him like that. He manages to, I don't know, dude, he's really good. He's amazing. He's a really great fighter. And just off of that alone, I want to say, I think he has a chance to pull off this upset, but I don't. It would be great if he did win. And I think he can, but I don't know if I'm really willing to bet on it. I don't know if I'm really willing to bet on it. I think we're going to get a really interesting fight, and I think it's going to be a good fight. But I'm going to say Cruz probably starts off good, but I think over the course of 5 rounds, Cejudo's he's going to figure it out. And I'm going to say Cejudo wins a 5-round unanimous decision. I think he'll eventually get his timing down. I think his speed will be a factor. And as we've seen, Cejudo dude's an Iron Man. He ate a whole lot in that Moraes fight and still managed to just really gut it out and then just go ham that second round moving forward. And just his overall skill set, I think he'll show why, as cringy as Cejudo is, dude is a phenomenal athlete and is transferred to fighting pretty well, and he's been making leaps and bounds of improvement. I think just his overall skill set is his talent's going to carry him. I think his talent's going to carry him this fight, and I think it'll give him a decision.
I can't pick a 35-year-old with a bum knee and the bum shoulder and the bum plantar fasciitis to beat a guy like Henry Cejudo. Like there's going to come a point, and I agree with you a little bit. I think Cruz is going to start off, cruisy. It's going to take Cejudo a minute to figure out what's happening. But the minute Cejudo decides that he doesn't like what's going on, with as fast as he is and as powerful as he is, what is Cruz going to do to stop him from moving forward? Because unlike TJ Dillashaw, is he going to be able to take down Henry Cejudo?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
And even if he does, is that good for his knee? That because he really likes to run into those change of levels. He throws something the last time he fought, he was 31. He's 35, man. That's a long time. And then I checked his Instagram while you're talking, and he's been training. I'll give him that. But the knee is still wrapped. I don't know if that's a precaution or if it's because he feels pain there. I give him the cardio edge, obviously, over 25 minutes, but does his body stay together for 25 minutes? Does Cejudo kick him once to the leg and it just fucking falls apart? So is the thing with Garbrandt beating Cruz is that Garbrandt is a much more patient boxer when he chooses to be, which sounds ridiculous in hindsight, but Cejudo doesn't do well when he lets the other guy come to him, or at least he has not historically done well. Marlon Moraes was beating his ass before he decided that he just was going to chase after Marlon Moraes. The second DJ fight, DJ got after him on the feet when he just stood there. It was only when he came forward and started applying pressure that Cejudo started having success. Historically, those are the types of dudes Cruz beats, but also historically, those are the type of guys that it's Scott Jorgensen. It's an undersized, underdeveloped DJ. It's I'm trying to think of somebody else who was super aggressive against Cruz. What's his face? Joseph Benavidez, who is a much better fighter now than he was back in WEC. Between the other factor is that of course Cejudo is coming off injury himself. He hasn't fought in almost a year. No, not that long. When did he murder Marlon Moraes? June, July?
Try to forget that incident.
Yeah, I think it was June. I want to say June. So it's almost been a year. So he has that going for him. Cruz does. We don't know what type of shape Cejudo's going to be in, but Cejudo seems like if there's any Cejudo's one of the very best athletes in this sport. If there was a ranking, he'd be top 5, top 10 at the worst.
Yeah.
And that's the type of dude. It's not like he's a quick. He's not a quick switch dude, but his style doesn't rely on him necessarily being the faster guy. Marlon Moraes was faster than him. and it still didn't matter because Cejudo's athleticism and toughness carried him through it. So yeah, I'm picking. The one real chaos factor is that Cejudo asked for this fight, and there's every chance in the world he just fucking blows it. Like, that's always the key to these matchups where like the champion asks for a specific challenger and just like MMA karma says you have to lose now. But also MMA is the chaotic sport that it is. It's just as likely that he wins by like knockout and then calls out Jose Aldo, and then we all have to deal with another cycle of Henry Cejudo as champion.
All right. And then Aldo wins.
Wait, what? wait.
Because that's.
Oh my God! Wait. Henry Cejudo is fighting Dominic Cruz, aka the Dominator. So what are the odds that Henry Cejudo is going to show up to their media day, if they have one for this event, just as a dominatrix?
Yeah, don't put that out. you can't put that kind of energy out there. Oh my God, I was so mad you reminded me of that fake snake. Oh man, hold on, I almost knocked my microphone down. Jesus Christ, man. Don't do a media day. We don't need it. We don't need it, man. Everybody stay quarantined until fight night, man. Just everybody chill out until it's actually time to fight.
Yeah.
But nah, interesting matchup. And if Cruz does somehow pull this off, that GOAT status, boy. If he's still not already in your head, still like the greatest bantamweight ever, which I would still say he is to me as of right now. If he beats Cejudo, it's pretty much undisputable. Like, he's the greatest bantamweight ever, and it's probably not really a question. I'll say that considering injuries and all. If you can beat Dillashaw and Cejudo and
DJ.
who else did he beat? Yeah, and DJ and Faber, albeit Faber was a bit older, but he beat him twice. Like, I'll be ready to give him that. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, so we both agree on that one. All right, moving down.
I tweeted it, so it's gonna come into existence.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right, moving down. All right, these are the fights you definitely don't know about. All right, moving down the main card. Next fight. You know, it's not a UFC card if heavyweights ain't on the main card. Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, or Strike. I don't know if is it really Strike? I don't know how to say his last name.
No one seems to. Everybody says it's different.
But it's funny. Before we started recording, I looked up highlights of both of them. I was like, oh, it's just videos of them just knocking people out because it's kind of just what they do.
Yeah.
So the only X factor that you have to consider in any heavyweight fight, not even just in MMA, I feel like it's across any heavyweight sport in combat sports. Heavyweight is just a weird division. It only takes one punch because everybody's so big, everybody's really strong. It doesn't necessarily mean the most skilled guy will always win. One punch can literally just turn everything around. This fight has potential to be really boring. I could see that. Two really strong guys. I ain't gonna say we'll get a repeat of Ngannou Lewis, but we could get something slightly sort of maybe related to that. But I'm gonna be positive and say that we won't. Both guys hit really hard. They can kill you in one punch. But I'm just going to say Ngannou's fought better competition. He's fought Stipe. He's been to the top of the hill and kind of seen what it takes to get to that level. So I'm going to say his freakishly inhumane strength and experience, and hopefully I would like to think that since that Stipe fight that he's learned a few things too, and hopefully he's maybe made some adjustments to his game. I'm gonna say Ngannou by knockout.
So I think this is gonna repeat, be a little bit of a repeat of the of our all-time favorite fight, Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. I think they're gonna stare at each other a lot because like they're both counter punchers. I'm gonna pick Ngannou just because I think he has more tools to win. He could wrestle a little bit. Maybe if you've seen him take guys down in that one commercial that they shot for Vegas.
Hey, he does have a Kimura submission win.
That's true. That is true. And we saw him in side control in that commercial, so we know that he knows what grappling is. We've seen him jab before, which is a good sign. Like a lot of, like I don't remember a whole bunch of that Overeem fight, other than Overeem was winning until he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Rozenstruik's other fights are just like him, like countering like a really bad punch. But that's the problem with Ngannou, because a lot of Ngannou's fights are him just countering a really bad punch. Like he did with JDS. I wouldn't call what he did to Overeem countering so much as Overeem getting big brothered in the clinch and just giving up. So like it's really like like Rozenstruik's the dude who came from kickboxing, if I'm remembering right. He was like in Glory, was he not? Or he was about to be signed by Glory or something like that. No, this is he's like he's like fought some like really good kickboxers like Benjamin Adegboye, twice, Michael Dute, Murat Agyan, Jafar Wilness. Like he's fought like legit kickboxers, but like it's heavyweight, so that doesn't mean you're good. It just means you fought legit kickboxers. So you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ngannou because I've seen more of him. I more or less understand how his game operates. Like, but again, heavyweight, it doesn't really matter. Also, I know Ngannou for a fact has been training every day. I don't know what Rozenstruik. I don't believe is based in the United States. Could be wrong. No, he's based in Florida, so Lord knows what type of training he's been getting.
Oh Lord, Florida, he's been training for real. They don't care.
Yeah.
He probably got a full gym. Lord. Yeah. So you rolling with Ngannou too?
Yeah. I'm not confident, but like no one should bet on heavyweight in any sport. I told that to Stoves. Doesn't listen.
Heavyweight, no matter the skill discrepancy, is always a 50-50. It's just we don't make the rules. We just that's just the law of the game. All right,
I feel like
next
50-50 are like is too nice. 20, like there's always a 20% chance that nobody wins.
That is true.
That's an Ngannou situation.
Yeah. I say once in a lifetime phenomenon, but it's you got to take that into consideration too. All right, next fight. Featherweight. This should be fun. Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar. I'll let you kick this one off. Who you got? Who you got in this?
Kattar. That's just mean. Like, why would you book Jeremy Stephens in this fight?
You don't think Stephens got a chance to get the knockout?
Hold up. How many people has Jeremy Stephens knocked out that weren't like Do Choi or Josh Emmett? I guess Dennis Bermudez, but that was like a flying knee. Ronnie Jason, who has terrible striking. Like, dude is not the knockout machine people make him out to be. Like, he's got some finishes on his resume, but like, I fully expect Kattar to just carve him up on the feet with the jab. just hit him, be gone before he's able to hit back. Maybe he works the leg kicks, like Hanaba Kano did when he fought Kattar, but I see Kattar taking his lunch, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'll give Stevens credit in that he might be able to get off a couple of hard shots. He might be able to catch Kattar with something, maybe stun him a bit. Maybe once or twice. But Kattar's boxing is just a bit too good, a bit too crisp, a bit too clean. It'll be a fun fight in which Kattar will always have to be not on edge, but he'll have to be cautious. You gotta respect the strength of Stevens, so he'll have to be cautious. But as long as he stays on his A game and he does what we know he can do, I think we'll get to see him lay some quality hands. Maybe eat a few licks here and there, but yeah, I think he gets. I think he wins a decision. I think this might be one of those fights where maybe Stevens might get frustrated. He might start swinging for the fences. But I'm gonna go with Kattar on this one too. Kattar by decision. And the last fight of the main card. How this got on the main card, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but Greg Hardy versus Yorgan De Castro. This is a Yorgan De Castro positive podcast.
Yes.
So, for this fight, it is. Hold on, he was the guy from the Contender Series, right?
Maybe, I don't
Guy
know.
like the kid?
I don't know. I don't know.
What? One of them?
They're all round, and I don't pay any attention to any of them. Like, it's like,
yeah, he was the one with like the daughter. I think that was him. Yeah. I like him. Yeah, Yorgan De Castro, man.
I like his name, Yorgan.
There you go. It's cooler than Greg. Actually, no, I know what Greg. My bad, Greg. He might listen to this too. Greg, you cool.
Greg, I don't
Hardy.
apologize for Sensei. He's right. Yorgan's a better name than Greg.
Greg Hardy is cool. But my first thought when I saw this fight was like, Greg Hardy, don't you have asthma? And you out here with COVID running around?
I wanted to say something, but it would be too dark for this podcast.
Yes, yeah, we'll move on. I'm just gonna speak for both of us and say we're both picking De Castro.
I'm picking this event not to happen, but yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, yeah, De Castro was the guy who had the daughter. He was like really like poor before all this. Yeah, De Castro, man, underdog. Working man's fighter, man. Blue collar.
Did he knock somebody out with a leg kick once?
I think so.
That was the Contender Series fight that he was losing before he ended the leg kick and ended the fight.
Hey, man.
I mean, any way you can get it done. Any way you can get it done.
Yeah. So we I'll speak for both. We both got Yorgan De Castro. We're not going to really spend a lot of time on that fight. All right. So that was the main card. Moving on to the prelims, things get a little interesting.
Yeah.
If that's the word. If that's the word you want to use. So the featured prelim rematch. My memory's bad. I'm gonna say 2-3 years later. I can't remember exactly when it happened.
2015. Is that when it happened? Hold up, let me check.
Donald Cerrone versus Anthony Showtime Pettis.
2013. Goddamn, that's been a minute.
I'm gonna have to go with the same fighter.
Yep.
I don't think the results of this fight changes, unfortunately.
Yeah, Donald Cerrone is not a guy who has changed. Okay, he's gotten better at boxing, but so a question from the Heavy Hands podcast that they ask a lot in rematches is, do styles change over time? Like, do guys adapt to styles over time better? And the answer is almost always no. Like, the reason you lost the first fight's the reason you lost the second fight. Like, an example was be like Kevin Lee losing to Al Quinta, even though they were both heading in like completely different directions with their career. Um, and like Donald Cerrone is still a very slow first round fighter. He's still very susceptible to being kicked, as we just saw. And he's only gotten less durable as the years have gone on. He's been knocked out in his last 3 fights. Well, I guess technically the Tony Ferguson fight wasn't a knockout, but stopped. Um, and he's been stopped more than 3 times in less than a year.
Yeah, and I would feel more comfortable picking Cerrone if it wasn't for the fact that his last couple fights have just been really brutal. Like, he's really been put through the ringer, and I just don't know how much is really left.
Didn't he break his nose 3 months ago?
I don't know. It sounds about right.
That's when the Conor fight was.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Like, he's really been going through it. And on the other end, Pettis has just been out here, really win or lose. He's been out here just having a blast.
Except
the man has just been out here. Huh?
Except his last. Well, Nate, like Pettis has also been like struggling. Like he struggled after that first round with Nate, and he struggled the entire way through the Carlos Diego Ferreira fight. But
I feel like the reasons that he struggled in those fights won't be present in this matchup.
Yes, exactly. Like Cerrone is not going to pressure him against the cage and take him down or punch him to the body. He's going to stand in the middle of the cage and have a awkward middle distance kickboxing match in which he gets knocked out.
Right. Yeah. Like, and don't get me wrong, because of how kind of like reckless Pettis has been lately, I think he'll give himself an opportunity to lose. Like, Cerrone might have a couple of moments where he's able to win if he can take advantage of a situation. Just because Pettis been out, he's been wilding out lately. For better or worse, he's been out here he don't really care. It's resulted in some really fun fights, just not always a win. But yeah, I don't think Cerrone has enough really left in the tank, and Pettis just still younger,
Is he?
willing to really just kind of slug it out. Is he? Yeah, he's 30. How old is Cerrone?
I have no idea how old either one of these guys are.
Pettis is 33.
Damn, man. I remember when Pettis was like in his late 20s, I already thought he was getting old.
Let's see, Cerrone is 37. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Just Pettis still younger, still got some pop in his, a little bit of pop in his hands, and just Cerrone hasn't been able to just absorb a lot of damage lately. He's been just getting really battered out there. So yeah, I gotta go with Pettis on this one. I'm gonna say he gets a stoppage in the second round. I'm gonna say second. But yeah, both rolling with Pettis on that one. It'll be a fun fight while it lasts, though, I think. All right, moving on. Heavyweights. They're back. The last heavyweight fight we'll have to talk about on this card. A matchup that I don't know if any of us asked for, but we're going to get it. So we haven't seen Fabricio Werdum in a while, but he's back.
After snitching.
And, hey, man. Hey, man.
Sorry, nigga. I'm just trying to go home.
Coming back from his cooperation with the feds. Coming back from the Federal Protection Program after ratting out everybody. Fabricio Werdum returning against Alexei Oleinik. I would bring up age in this fight, but at heavyweight, I don't think age really matters.
Also, they're both older than 40. Together, they might be over
Yeah.
100 years old.
Right. They're close. 'Cause I think Verdum's like 40. He's like 45 or 40. I don't know. He's old. He's old.
Dude, y'all can't tell me that fucking Olenek isn't 50-something. Hold up.
Yeah.
It claims that Olenek is 42, but, you know, creating a terrorist organization to be a proxy for Russia in the Ukraine seems like it would age another like 20 years. That's a thing that happens that I will never forget. Anytime I see Olenek's name. Olenek's lived a crazy ass life. He had that. His daughter lived through like Parkland. Like he got submitted by Chael Sonnen, all traumatic events.
Well, how do you have this fight playing out? The battle of the our two seniors here.
So last time I saw, someone tweeted that Olenek had lost like a good amount of weight and he was down to like 225. And the last time we saw Fabricio Verdum, he was on steroids or PEDs or whatever, and he looked like shit. He got tired after like 3 minutes of fighting, grappling, mind you. He was in what's his name's guard, Volkov's guard. I'm torn.
I am like.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to Verdum because I think. Well, wait, no, Verdum's been knocked out. No, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Verdum. I'm gonna say Olenek has. Let me see. Got knocked out by Will Harris. Got knocked out by Overeem. Neither one are literally either one the two. Like. They're not very similar, but you know what? I'm gonna give it to Verdum. He still knows how to do Muay Thai. I don't think, unless Verdum gets really tired, I don't think Olenek will be able to get that Ezekiel choke on him. But you know what? It's heavyweight. Like, don't bet on heavyweight. It's 50-50. Who cares?
I would say like everything in my mind and body and heart is telling me that Verdum is gonna win this fight. But for no rhyme or reason, because it's heavyweight, and because he's at least been more active lately, I'm going to say Olenek wins this somehow. I don't know how. It's going to be a wacky, stupid fight. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. And somehow I just think Olenek by luck or chance, I don't know, by heavyweight, being heavyweight. I'm going with Olenek. Olenek by... I'm going to say Olenek by submission. Boom. I just dropped 3 nickels, if y'all heard that. I don't know if that was my boom. But
that was the Vuvuzela. Yeah, there we go.
That's the amount of money I feel comfortable voting on this fight, or betting on this fight. So, I'm going to go with Olenek.
Whoa, wait.
Battle of the two seniors.
So, I got breaking news for you.
Oh, boy.
Bellator is still planning to hold about 30 events by the end of 2020, assuming they start in early July, having already canceled their single June event in Chicago. That would leave somewhere around 27 weeks to put on 26 fight cards. Sensei, I think you were right to cancel the podcast.
I haven't really addressed that much, that this COVID thing has really thrown off the plans of this podcast. This podcast was supposed to be ending in like 2 weeks.
This podcast was supposed to be done last weekend.
Yeah. Like, we would have gotten Tony Habib. That would have played out however it would have played out, and then we would have done a final episode, and then that was supposed to be it.
That was supposed to be the high note that we went off on.
And now like I don't know how this is gonna end, because the world is.
When we realized that our last card was gonna be Khabib Tony, I think we both said like that's not gonna happen. I don't think we planned for it to not happen like this.
No. No. Nobody saw this coming. Oh my god, I can't even end my own podcast. Like, I don't even know how to end it now. They won't, they won't let me end it.
This is all
Like, I was
happening because of the podcast.
I was dead set on ending. Like, man, Tony Habib, that's gonna be it. That is the perfect last card to cover, and that's gonna be it.
I mean, sucks to be you. It's gonna be Cejudo Cruz. You know,
and now it's like
we still got 2
like,
weeks for somebody to get hurt.
God. And now I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, do I end it on this May 9th card? I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Does anybody?
I don't know, man. Nah, we're all freestyling it at this point. Just
wild out.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. This podcast was supposed to end in like a week, and now I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Boy, life is funny. It is funny. But moving on, man. No more heavyweights. We're done with them.
Yay.
I like this matchup, man. We're going down women's strawweight.
Yay.
One of my favorite divisions. Carla Esparza versus Michelle Waterson.
Well, that's a good one.
So yeah, when I saw this, I was like, now that's an interesting matchup. That's a good one. Cause this is kind of one of those. This is like a pick. This is a pick 'em for me. Cause I could envision both of them winning this. This is hard. This is a good matchup, man. While Michelle Waterson not the word, she's like a good. God, I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to explain this without it coming off as like a shot, because I don't want it to sound like that.
Just go bite your teeth and fight through it. Post through it, Mike.
She's a creative striker, but not the best striker at the same time. Like,
she's not
don't
very
be out here throwing. Yeah. She'll catch you with a side kick. She got some good kicks, but there isn't like a lot of. I don't know if fluidity is the word. Just if you watch her, I think you know what I'm. Hopefully, you understand what I'm trying to say.
My issue with Michelle Waterson is like, okay, you got this. It's a lot of issues I have with Holly Holm, but Holly Holm is big and strong in a division that does not have a lot of big and strong fighters. Michelle Waterson's undersized in a division that has Tisha Torres and Rose Namajunas and Weili Zhang. And
Tatiana Suarez.
Exactly. Like a bunch of big, strong women who are able to get inside your reach of your legs and take you down or bully you in the clinch or just sidestep you and head kick you like Rose Namajunas did. So it's a struggle for her. And she's done way better than I thought she would, to be honest with you. When she first signed, I thought she'd be 3-0.
Yeah, she's, considering how undersized she is, she has done more, I think, than hold her own. Like, she is definitely an atomweight.
Not anymore.
Somehow manages.
I'll give her
at one point.
When she started, she wasn't atomweight, but she's filled out a lot. She's put on a lot of muscle.
But just my problem with her is that I feel like, I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's a Greg Jackson thing. I just feel like she never really hit to me like that next level. Like, I never saw that. Like, every fighter comes in, they fight one way, they go through a couple of losses, and then they're forced to kind of take that next step so that they can keep floating with the big dogs of the division. And while she still managed to keep herself somewhat in the conversation, the eye test is telling me, like, I haven't really seen that improvement that I was hoping that I would saw. Meanwhile, Esparza I ain't gonna say she's leaps and bounds better than when we first saw her, but she's definitely been making, in my opinion, I think some improvements. Her striking has gotten a little bit better. It's not great, but it's
Carla Esparza's
something now.
Striking, like, is very interconnected with her wrestling. It's not very pretty. It's not very like, but it's structural. It makes sense for the context of what she wants to do, and she's very good at using strikes to hide takedowns. Like she is legitimately one of the best in the women's divisions who's able to do that. Like it's kind of the complete opposite of like Michelle Waterson, who like kind of relies on her opponents bull rushing her to get like her trip takedowns and stuff.
Right.
But like, so the issue I'm running into with Michelle Waterson is in the UFC. When was the last time she won a fight by actually like out kickboxing her opponents? Because she took down, like, if memory serves, she's taken basically everybody she's fought down, or she's tried to anyway. Like, and everybody she's beat. Like, hold up, I'm gonna go through my running tally of fights to see. Like, she took down Paige Van Zandt, which, you know what, fair enough. Paige Van Zandt, super athletic. The only place she really was never going. The only place she wasn't a threat is on the ground. Whatever. I get So okay, there's Felice Herrig, and she took her down in that fight, but it's Felice Herrig. She tried to take down Tisha Torres, and she had some success, but she didn't win that one out. I'm trying to remember the who was it? The Joe Clark fight? What was it?
Her last couple,
she fought
Joanna. Courtney Casey, Carolina.
I'm trying to remember the Carolina fight.
She outboxed Carolina?
Carolina.
I don't remember that fight, but Carolina's last couple fights have been rough. So
let me look on Twitter. Warrison, Carolina. I want to say she just took Carolina down.
Wouldn't surprise me. And it's like she has a good ground game. So I don't know. It could get interesting if it goes to the ground, because I don't think Michelle would be completely lost. But I feel like Esparza would just win. Like, she'll probably win just based on output and pressure. Like, I'm not gonna say I don't think she gets a stoppage on Waterson, but I think she'll just be able to outwork her. And I feel like the only, like I said, Waterson maybe will have a chance if Esparza does rush her. Maybe she catches Esparza with a trip. You know, she works something off the ground, makes that work. Or if by chance she happens to land one of those wild, side kicks or whatever, cracks Waterson, something like that, gets her to the ground, able to choke her out or something. But it's a close fight. I think it's going to be a good matchup, but I think I got it. I want Waterson to win, but if I'm being honest, I got to go with Esparza.
So, I was going to say this is the first time I think Waterson's fought an opponent she's bigger than, but I just remember she fought Tisha Torres, and Tisha Torres is also like 5 foot, but Tisha Torres is also built like a mini tank. So
yeah, I was gonna say she's like dumb strong.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with Carla Esparza. I just think she's gonna have the wrestling and top to control edge. I don't know how the fight looks beyond that though. Because Esparza tends to sit at range before like jumping in with those looping punches. Is that going to work against somebody like Waterson, whose whole entire game is like keeping you at range with the kicks?
It's not a gimme fight either way. It's a pick me. Like anybody picking Waterson, I really couldn't argue against you either.
And,
Like it's a really, really close match.
Yeah, and Waterson is a very decent clinch striker. Like she has done some work with the knees and stuff, knees and elbows. So, yeah, I'm not 100% on how this fight's gonna look, but I think I have to go with Sparza.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go Waterson.
I think you're just being contrarian. You're just picking against me.
Stamp it. I don't care. I'm gonna go Waterson. She had a nice little streak going before she ran into Joanna, and Joanna is Joanna, man. I can't. I ain't gonna fault you for that. I'm gonna go Waterson. Yeah, I'm just being a contrarian. Oh boy, I can't be a contrarian on this next fight because this is Had this fight been announced like a couple years ago, I'd be a little more ecstatic maybe. But in 2020, I don't know how I feel about this. The tough dad division, middleweight. I don't think either of these guys qualify to be tough dads. They're still in too good physical shape. But
Jacare could be a tough dad. He's got a dad face.
He does. But
Uriah Hall is like that weird uncle you have who like who's like in your Facebook Messenger and he's like sending you soaps. He's like, you should really think about buying the soap. It just changed my life.
That's the new natural soap, made of I don't know. It's a natural. I don't know. Whatever they make natural soaps out of.
Like he's always trying to get you to go to yoga with him.
He just now started getting his life back together.
Yeah, he went through a really messy divorce in his late 20s, and
yeah, he wants you to be a part of that journey of his growth.
Exactly.
He wants you to experience that with him. He's trying to pull you out of your troubles too. But Jacare Souza versus Uriah Hall. How you see this one playing out? It's a wacky fight.
It is, right? It's so weird because, like, if you had asked me a year or two ago, I would have been like, "Oh, Jacare's gonna win this easy." And he still might, but we just saw him like just completely freeze up mentally against Jan Blachowicz. Granted, that's probably has more to do with Jan Blachowicz being like a light heavyweight and really big. But like, he looked decent against Jack Hermanson. It's just Jack had like a better outboxing game plan. Like, I can totally see like Uriah Hall just timing Jacare early and knocking him out. But I could also see Jacare just fucking destroying Uriah Hall with a left hook like everybody else does, taking him down and like getting him out of there really quickly. Also worth noting, Jacare is literally training his garage for this fight. Like, at the beginning, like 2 weeks ago, he posted that he talked to like an interviewer and was like, "Yeah, no, I'm training in my garage with some of my buddies." So who knows? Like, it's really important when you're in those like later years of your career that you get like good training. I don't know how good his training is if he's like in his garage. You know what? Fuck it, Uriah Hall.
This is such a wacky fight, man.
He's got the momentum. I think that fight he had with ACJ is like one of the best fights he's had in the UFC. Even though he got taken down and beat up a little bit, like he looked like he was patient. He didn't overexert himself. He didn't like. This is like a terrible striker. He didn't get walked onto a left hook. So you know what? I'm gonna go with Uriah Hall. He's got some momentum. He's won 2 fights in a row. He's younger, though he is 35. And from what I can tell, he's not training in the garage. That being that being said,
Yeah,
I I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. Oh, it's a mess. Everything's a mess.
middleweight at times is low key like heavyweight, where
Eh,
it's like some of these fights, the
well,
matchup kind of don't matter because it's just
well,
it's just weird.
it's like that, and because like half the division, like half the top of the division's over 40. You got like Yoel and Jacare just fucking holding on for dear life at the top of the rankings.
Yeah, and the one thing to always just honestly keep in context during all of these predictions, like you mentioned, we don't know how any of these guys are training. Like, there's so many outside factors to consider because of COVID and everything. Like,
Yeah,
we don't
because
know how any of these,
like
we don't know how anybody's gonna look.
these guys
Like,
could actually be in the gym, but like have no training partners.
right.
So
Like,
like
we
for all I
we
know,
don't know.
Jacare's garage is better than training at fucking Extreme Couture right now. Like who
Right.
knows?
Like, we really don't know, man. These weigh-ins are gonna be interesting, I think.
Dude, like there has to be an allowance. Like all these fights should have been at like a catch weight.
Yeah, none of these should be. Yeah,
Over under 3 misweights.
yeah. Oh,
I'm gonna go
over.
over. But it's gonna be all the heavyweight fights.
Who's coming in at 270?
Jorgen De Castro.
Nah, he's not a big heavy. Oh well,
Mm,
he's kind of short.
he's short, but he's very round.
I feel like we're doomed. He's been off his whole time. He ain't been doing nothing. He gonna be a solid 268.
No, wait.
I don't know.
Let me see how
We'll
much Jorgen weighed at his last fight. Why am I seeing him with abs? That's a lie. That is a lie.
Shout outs to York.
It says his last weigh and he came in at 265 on the dot.
I believe in you, York.
I don't.
I believe
I
in
do too.
you.
Actually, no, I do. Come in at 270. Knock out Greg Hardy. Come in at 270 and knock out Greg Hardy. And that's either going to
There you
make
go.
the UFC just get rid of the heavyweight limit, or it's going to be like if you come in at 266 or over, you're not allowed to fight anymore.
My prediction, man, another just wacky matchup. This Jacare and Uriah Hall fight. Like you said, I could easily picture Uriah Hall timing some crazy kick or something. He stuns Jacare, gets the finish. Could also see Jacare somehow getting him down, and then we know how that story goes. Jacare lately has been more willing to stand with people, which in this fight, I don't know if that's the best thing. But then at the same time, it's like Uriah Hall he does have momentum going right, and I like both of these guys. That's another reason why this fight is hard to pick. Even though like I'm like a diehard Jacare fan though, so you might see where I'm trying to go with this. I'm gonna talk myself into this one, but Uriah Hall is on a good streak, but he's still, and I guess you could say the same for Jacare. But I think it's been more of a pattern through Uriah's career. He's kind of a streaky dude, man. He's still one of those guys that from fight to fight, you still be a little nervous. And it doesn't really matter who he's fighting. Like, matchups we think he should win, he doesn't. Then sometimes he does. Like, he's a toss-up sometimes. And like I said, against Antonio Carlos Jr., he did look pretty good. It's more comes down to, do I trust Uriah to get a knockout, or do I trust Jacare to be able to take Uriah down and get a submission? It's gonna be a wacky fight, because just the way these two gentlemen, the way their fights have been going lately. But I'm gonna trust Jacare to somehow get a submission. He's probably gonna eat a couple licks. It ain't gonna look pretty. But I'm gonna trust Jacare in this one. I'm gonna say Jacare gets. I don't know if we go 3 rounds. He might be in trouble. I'm gonna say Jacare gets submission in the second after he eats a lot of shots that he probably shouldn't. It's gonna be a fun, wacky fight until it's over. But I'm a diehard Jacare fan. I gotta ride with my guy. Jacare by submission. All right. Still there?
Yep.
Oh. Next fight. Violent weight division. A prime violent weight fight. Vicente Luque versus Nico Price.
You see, that's not fair because Nico Price is a heavyweight, man. Like, you can't bet on his fights on how good or bad he is because he's not a good fighter. He hits hella hard though, and he's really tough. So, has Vicente Luque ever been knocked out? Like, I know he's been rocked. I know Wonder Boy beat the crap out of him, but has he ever been like knocked out, like cold? You know what? Dumb question. It doesn't matter. Nico Price by knockout after losing like a round and a half.
So you got Nico?
I had, like, Luque can be hit. That's like 100%. Like Luque can be hit. He's been hit early by like way lesser competition than Price. And he's been rocked. Almost finished. But I'm like any guy who I can see getting hurt like that, like get hurt habitually like that. Like a guy like Price, I could see them knocking like him. Just like skill doesn't matter. His athleticism, power, and grit will carry him through.
Hold on, these two have fought before?
No. But like I'm thinking like fight like the one counter to that is like if
No, they have fought before.
Yeah?
They fought in 2017.
Oh shit, when? Where?
Luque won by Bravo choke.
I do not remember this.
I don't either. This was on the Brunson Machida card.
Hold on, look for like a thing on YouTube.
Oh, so you have a motivated Nico Price who wants revenge? Ooh.
You know what? If he won the first one, I'm gonna take him in the second one. Then fuck it, because fucking Nico Price hasn't gotten better. Let's be real. He's just gotten tough.
He hasn't. Hey, sometimes that's all it takes.
Oh, I'm watching it. I'm watching the end now. Yeah, he's lighting him up. I didn't know that. I forgot. I guess. Shit. Now I feel like a what you call it? What's the word? A bandwagoner. But yeah.
Card.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna ride with Luque then. I was happy. I didn't want to have to pick against him, but you know, facts were telling me otherwise. But apparently, I didn't know the facts. So Luque rides again. Watch Nico Price win on the very first punch.
You're right. I don't know, man, because I'm looking at Price's record. And his last 2 losses were Jeff Neal and Abdul Razak Al Hassan. 2 dudes that can hit really hard. Luque can also hit really hard. And he's also like, you know, has pretty good like technique. Like he's not just he can sling, but he's not like a sloppy, you know, kind of guy. Like he's pretty well put together technique wise. I want to be a contrarian so bad. But cause I've been seeing Nico Price on Twitter. That this man has been itching to fight. Like he has been itching. He has been wanting some smoke. I don't know if I could be a contrarian on this one. I want to pick Nico, but sorry, bro. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to roll with Luque too. I'm rooting for Nico, but if I had to pick, I gotta go with Luque on this one. I think we might see a knockout or a TKO. But regardless, excuse me, welterweight, violent weight fight, so it's gonna be entertaining regardless. That's gonna be a fun matchup for while it lasts. All right, we got 2 more fights left. Next fight, featherweight. I believe featherweight. Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa.
I don't even know. Like, you got any thoughts on this, Sensei? Like,
my only thought is that I don't think I'm as high on Bryce Mitchell as the rest of the world is.
I mean, I can't be very high on a man who buzzsawed his own groin region. So, like, that shows not a whole lot of togetherness in the mental area, you know?
I ain't gonna lie. This is if there was one fight on the card I could say I don't really care about. Actually, no, yeah, it would be, because this next fight, even though it's a 205 fight, there's one guy I want to see win. I'm not really invested in this fight, so I honestly didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it. I don't know though. I might actually have to go with Rosa, because I feel like, I'm basing this I'm just looking at records. Rosa has fought much better competition.
Absolutely.
Like, albeit like
he's lost to
Bryce hasn't lost yet, but just
Bryce
looking at who they like, Rosa. Yeah, go ahead.
Like Bryce's wins are Tyler Diamond, Bobby Moffett, and Matt Sales. Like, Charles Rosa has lost, but he lost to Yair Rodriguez and Shane Burgos, which is
right. Yeah, like, he's been in there with some really good. Yeah, like Manny Bermudez, Shane Burgos, Kyle Bochniak, Yair.
Dennis Seaver at the tail end of, like, when he was actually pretty good.
Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna base this off a record. I don't really have no technical breakdown for this fight. I'm not that invested in it, but I'm gonna say Charles Rosa might stop a hype train.
Yeah. I'm a ride with you on that one. I don't see it. I mean, I still don't see it, but, like, why people are higher on Mitchell, but I can see this being that prospect loss.
Yeah, might bounce back from it. We'll see. I'm not really invested either way, but I'm gonna say Rosa. All right, and closing out the card, which technically will be the start of the cards, will be the first fight. 205, good old 205, man. Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. Ryan Spann, get him out of here. Ryan Spann, knockout, round 1.
Oh, I think we're going to have to sit through another Sam Alvey Borefest, to be honest with you. Well, actually, hold up. Let me look at Sam Alvey's recent resume real quick. He lost to Quinton Abreu. I think he got knocked out by Jimmy Crute, knocked out by Lil Nog. Gian Vellante, he beat split decision Marcin Prachnio. Rashad Evans, he beat Nate Marquardt, Alex Nicholson. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to ride with you, because Ryan Spann is big, fast, and hits like a motherfucker. So, like,
yeah.
like, the thing that tends to net Alvey wins is he's able to make the other guy slow down to his pace. But when you're 6'5" and you got fast hands like Spann does, I don't see it being I can see areas where you can exploit where some of these other guys can't. So, you know what? Spann by knockout.
Boom. Those are our UFC 249 predictions.
Yeah.
See you guys next week. Exactly.
For when they cancel this card and
right. And then our predictions in this podcast, man, absolutely nothing.
Exactly. I mean, we got to have
But
fun.
we got to have fun, and for how long we've been recording, I think we're like just at 2 hours. For a little over 2 hours, you guys got to escape reality for a little bit. We all won.
Just make sure you get this episode out, Sensei, before they cancel the card. It really looks like psychopaths.
So, I'm gonna get it out tomorrow. We're recording this. It is currently now 10:07 p.m. April 25th. I might have this out on the 26th. I had this out tomorrow. That's sometime.
You drop it at noon and at like 1 o'clock. Daniel's like the card's off.
Right. You'll be listening to the intro right as the card gets canceled.
Imagine the extent that. Imagine you get that Bleacher Report right now. How would you feel?
I would have an internal debate on whether or not I should actually acknowledge it, or just go, or just end the podcast like I never saw it, and then come back like the next day. Oh my God, I can't believe. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know which one I would pick. I don't know if I would acknowledge it or if I would just keep going. I can't let them mess up. I'm trying to stick the landing, man. They're gonna mess up the landing. Oh boy, what a time! But that's all we got, man, for today's podcast. That's our UFC 249 predictions. Once again, this will be allegedly happening in Florida on May the 9th. ESPN prelims, and then the rest will be on pay-per-view. But on ESPN Plus, but whatever. But we may have some sports back, so you guys can be happy. I don't know if we really... There you go. Go watch bull riding. Go watch I don't know. I gotta see what they playing on like ESPN3. They're probably getting real desperate. It's gotta be something crazy on ESPN3.
Guys, I'm telling you, this is your opportunity. ESPN is desperate. Just go to your backyard, make up a sport, and send them some video.
Man, I was telling people at work, even though I don't play it, I had an idea, like, why do we not film like a World Spades tournament? And this is the time, man. This is the time, man. We get the World Spades jumping. But yeah, so this card shouldn't happen. I don't know if we said that. Shouldn't be putting these lives at risk. But hey, man, it is what it is. I will wish and hope and pray for the well-being of everybody involved on this card. I hope everybody comes out okay. I hope not to see any Rona cases afterwards. I don't know. We'll see. But that's it for today's podcast. I guess before we get out of here, I don't know. I don't know what's the word. Any parting thoughts? Any recommendations? Something you want people to check out while they're on lockdown or anything?
No. I don't watch like anything, and I don't do things. I'm at the end of my semester for school. I was very grateful. This upcoming week I have no homework. The following week everything I have to do is due. So I haven't had time I've been busy, but I've been busy because I procrastinate and I wake up at like noon. Because I'm a bastard. I don't know, like if you're not home alone, like spend time with the people at home. Take an interest in what they're doing. Clean.
All right, tomorrow, but I've been avoiding that like the plague.
If you have a library card, there we go. That's the suggestion. So I think I've made this perfectly clear by now. I am a librarian in training, whatever, same thing. If you have a library card, you have access to you might have access to a bunch of movies and books on your phone through apps like Hoopla or Libby. You just sign in if your library it does business with those companies. You should be able to download a number of books and movies to your phone. You watch them there. If you have a streaming service, or you don't have a whole bookcase of books you have to work through like I do, and you're bored sitting home alone. They also have audiobooks, graphic novels, all types of wonderful stuff. Go check it out. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, something to keep the kids busy, even. All right there on your tablet, iPhone, smartphone, Android, whatever.
Yeah, I'll end on a similar note. If you're fortunate enough to still like be able to work during all this, you still have some income coming in, and you got some extra time. I'm not gonna say work. I actually did a podcast on this. I did a solo podcast not a couple weeks ago. Don't work yourself to death just because you have extra time. But I mean, now is the time if you want to, maybe for like an hour or so a day, take up a new hobby, ingest some new information, read. I have all of those comic books I got at Comic-Con. I never read. I probably need to get to going. I bought like 10 books and I haven't read any of them.
I bought a bunch of the most recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics, like the day before lockdown happened. And I just have not gotten to them.
Did you have the crossover with the Power Rangers?
No, but I ordered them for work. Funny enough.
Okay. I heard that was really good. The Power Rangers crossover, I heard was really dope.
But yeah, no, take your time, charge, stare at the wall if it makes you comfortable, man. Whatever.
Yeah, man. Just, relax. Don't stress out too much, but
don't feel guilty.
At the same time, Yeah.
And don't feel guilty for slowing down.
But if you got a little extra time, and you want to take up a new hobby, like I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of websites and stuff now offering a lot of educational tools, a lot of photography classes, and a lot of things that would normally cost a ton of money right now are on discount. So I would just encourage you, just keep your eyes peeled. You might see something pop up. Maybe it was something you've been wanting to learn a new language, and seeing a couple of those classes that have drastic discounts. So just keep an eye out, man. Just entertain yourself, ingest some new information. Take it easy, one day at a time. If you're a gamer, clean out that backlog. If you're like me, I know you got a backlog. This is definitely the time. Get that backlog cleaned out. I've been trying. It's hard, but it's rewarding when you actually beat a game. You're like, now I don't have to worry about trying to beat that anymore. Yeah, man, just take it a day at a time. Don't overwork yourself too much. But just try to keep yourself just busy enough. But don't stress yourself out.
If you have to, definitely go in your backyard and scream as loud as you can for 5 seconds, and then get it all out your system.
Yeah, or you just go in your car, just turn on the AC.
Like Bryan Cranston and Malcolm in the Middle.
You go in your car, turn on the AC, turn on some music, and just scream. Then go back in the house. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
No, man. You guys, man, stay safe out there. As always, you can listen to this podcast, SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all that good stuff. Send questions to dodotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit me up on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Serial Sensei. Hit the podcast up on Instagram and Facebook at the Dodo Talk podcast pages. Follow the Theanticool on Twitter at GCZeus. And that's about it. So like I said, I don't know when this podcast is going to end because COVID threw off the whole schedule. So I don't know how this is going to end, but we're still here for now. So, as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be here to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.